All right, looks like we're all set. I'm just going to check Facebook. Give a couple people some time to join. Okay, perfect. We're all set to go. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for this network welcome. My name is Jamie Chavez. I'm the president and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. And each Wednesday, we bring to you a live broadcast featuring one of our newest chamber members to introduce them and give them a chance to talk to you about their business. If this is your first time joining us, thank you for joining us today. Special welcome to you. If you are watching on Facebook, you can like and follow us on Facebook, and then you'll get notifications for when we go live in the future. If you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe and view all of our previous broadcasts there as well. We also offer broadcasts on Mondays, which are all about city updates and what's going on at City Hall. So stay tuned for those to get more information on the city of Westminster and what they've got going on down there. As you watch this broadcast, please feel free to engage with us. Don't be shy. Ask any questions, any comments that you might have. Go ahead and enter those, or just simply say hello, and we will get to you during the interview. And that's it. That's all my housekeeping. So finally, a warm welcome to Andrew with White Oak Construction. How are you today?
Hi, Jamie. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. And for everybody that's tuned in, hello. And it's nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good Wednesday. So we're just going to jump right in. Why don't you go ahead and give us the story behind White Oak Construction? How did it all get started?
So a little bit of the background for White Oak Construction. I am the founder and owner of White Oak. The way it sort of originally got started up is I come from a background in the trades. My whole family has really been involved in the trades, and my upbringing, I spent working with my father, who is a trim carpenter by trade, and he would take me out of school and we'd go help him out with work quite a bit. So what he did was trim, flooring, cabinetry, and doors, and so full pretty much trim out of homes. We worked with a lot of custom home builders, a lot of different general contractors growing up. And I sort of looked around and said, hey, well, what's next for me? What kind of direction can I go in? And it was sort of, coming around all of these GCs. I said to myself, hey, well, what if we go into the GC sphere? And I started scheduling little meetups with the GCs, and just to kind of pick their brain on how they made it in that world. And where did you get licensed, and how did you get insured, and how did you market yourself? And about 7 years ago, we decided to launch what's now known as White Oak Construction. It's a small boutique general contracting firm that primarily started out from a residential side of things, and has grown in the last couple of years a lot more into the commercial TI sphere. And so now we have sort of two branches of the company. We have residential sphere and the commercial sphere going hand in hand. That's a little bit of the background and about what we do.
Awesome. Where did the name come from?
White Oak came from the idea of something that is planted, rooted, and strong and long lasting. And so for me, that resonated as we were looking at names from my wife and I. We were thinking, okay, well, what would people think when they hear White Oak? And it's something that's lasting, something that's going to be around for a long time, and is strong. So awesome. That's the White Oak name.
Cool. So you said you've been around 7 years. What has that growth, or what has that time period been like for you?
Yeah. So at the beginning, we were a primarily finish out company. We would come into, let's say, for example, a home that's being built, and we would do the complete fit out of the home. A working partnership with GCs. We slowly started taking on more of our own work, bathroom remodels, kitchen remodels, basements, and that sort of work. And a couple of years back, we were able to complete our commercial licensing, which gave us the opportunity to go into the commercial sphere and start working with business partners that are trying to get their space ready for their business. as they get ready to lease a space. Something that I've seen to be of value for our business partners is for them to be able to look at spaces with cost in mind, with design in mind, with feasibility in mind. And so a lot of our clients are business owners that are looking to upgrade their space, and they just don't know what it's going to cost, and they don't want to shoot in the dark. So they'll bring us in, or our broker partners bring us in to kind of give an idea of cost for that space. And we're able to provide that value to many of our clients.
That's awesome. So what are your favorite projects to work on for folks?
Right now, it's probably the most rewarding to see homeowners see their space transformed. So we'll come into, for example, a kitchen that is 10, 15 years old, and the client is a little ashamed of inviting friends over, of hosting parties, and we'll come in and totally transform their space and hold their hand through the whole process. And at the end, they're inviting us over for a cocktail hour and to hang out, and they're inviting all their friends over and raving about the space. That's still the most rewarding thing, even though we love all of our clients. I would say just seeing the look on our client's face to see their space totally transformed is by far the best.
So is that about the time frame you think that things start to seem outdated and you start hearing from folks about doing renovations, is about that 10 to 15 years?
Yeah, so about that 10-year mark is where the design trends change, I've noticed. And that 15-year mark, things kind of start to stop being as useful. You'll see cabinets start to deteriorate, hinges stop working. I would say that 15 to 20-year mark is usually where I've seen people start to bring in a contractor to start switching it up, especially homeowners that have bought their home 20 years ago. It's a builder grade home, and about that time is where they have a little bit of equity in the house. They've saved up some money, and they're ready to pull the trigger on a $100,000, $150,000 project like that.
Great. And then as far as like the commercial aspect, what are some of your favorite projects in the commercial side?
Some of my favorite projects, and one that we just finalized, we're still working hand in hand with this client as they continue to add more and more to the scope, but we're on the finish end of a large dental office renovation. And the reason it's one of my favorite is two-faceted. We came into the project, they had about 10 operatory rooms functioning, and they had a very large back office area, break room, 2 bathrooms that were never really used because they had bathrooms up front. And what we were able to do is design the space and rebuild the space to fit an extra 5 operatories for them to, really increase their capacity, by 50%. And now they're able to get more people in those seats and serve more people. And as we were finishing up the job, the client was looking at the new LED retrofit lights that we installed and said, hey, well, I love the look of these. Can we outfit the rest of the office? And so we took the rest of the 5,000 square foot office and kind of did some energy upgrades on it. And not only did it create a super modern feel in the office, but it also is saving them a lot of energy. If you know anything about the old fluorescent lights, they produce a lot of heat. So you're trying to, condition the space, have the AC running more often, but you're also spending a lot on electricity to run those lights. And a lot of them are daytime lights that stay on all the time. And so when we outfitted all of that, I think they saw about a 10% decrease in their energy bill, which is kind of wild to think about. And all of that money is going right back into their pockets, if you think about it.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So one thing that your website stresses, or that this is a funny use of words, but your website talks a lot about the stress-free renovation. So why is that such an important part of your mission? Why does that help so much? So
the construction world is notorious for a lot of really not good surprises. That being, project overruns in terms of cost. Also scheduling deadlines not being met. And so, for example, in a commercial space, they need to, start opening the doors to get some of that cash flow going. And if a project isn't scheduled properly and there is no clear deadline, then what that leads to is lost income for the business owner. For the homeowner, it leads to an absolute nightmare because they're, anticipating Thanksgiving, they're anticipating Christmas coming up, and all of a sudden this project they started in the spring ends up derailing their holiday plans, going into the new year. And I've heard those horror stories more often than I'd like to admit, because there's a lot of contractors that don't have a clear timeline set up for their clients. And so I always try to tell people is at White Oak, we're trying to change the way construction feels. I know that's a big ask, that's a big goal, but I enjoy hearing the stories from clients like, hey, we love having a very transparent grid. We love having a project schedule that's detailed. And I don't need to think about who's in my basement on what day of the week, because you've laid it all out there, and I can expect my water being off that week, and I'll kind of plan around that. I can expect this or that person at my house, and that's been really cool feedback for us to hear. And I kind of try to stress that to people is, hey, the value that we bring is that transparency, is that peace of mind. What people don't realize is general contractors deal with a lot of moving parts. And a lot of times it's not even them. Like they're the subcontractor, the electrician decides not to show up. Well, what you get with a good contractor is somebody that's quick on their feet, that's able to troubleshoot and maybe reorganize that schedule. And they can view that live schedule through our portal 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
so
that's
something
amazing.
that we take pride in. Yeah.
I bet that's, I've never done a big remodel or renovation on anything. And so I bet that would be one of the more stressful things is just like, yeah, do I have water? Can I even sleep in my house while this is going on? Like, do I need to pack a bag and go somewhere else for the week?
Yeah, the logistics are endless when people do their home remodels, and we'll have certain clients that they don't even realize they're not going to have a sink to do dishes in. They're going to have to be doing dishes in their master bedroom. Unfortunately. And that's something that we try to reiterate before the job even starts is, hey, what do you expect to do when we're refinishing your floors? Where are you going to be? Where are we putting all of your furniture? The logistics, like I said, if you don't work those out, it can go downhill very quickly, and very last minute, you have to, as the homeowner, troubleshoot some of that. And so we try to make sure the homeowners are aware of what they're really getting into.
Yeah, that's great. And so besides that kind of like very clear logistics and planning, what do you do differently to earn a client's trust? Because I imagine, as someone who has had to have, people come into my home to do things, it can be stressful inviting people into your home and you don't know who they are or what they're doing. And so what do you guys do differently to earn a client's trust?
Exactly. I can think of a couple things that sets us apart. All of our subcontractor partners, and I call them partners for a reason. They're not just subcontractors. They are companies that we've partnered with for the last 4 or 5 years, many of them. So we've vetted them. They're on multiple projects of ours. We make sure we have a very thorough vetting process. There's a lot of paperwork that happens before the subcontractor even steps foot on your project. And so we try to make sure that everybody is vetted thoroughly before they arrive on site. And like I said, they're partners. When a homeowner hires a subcontractor, for example, an electrician, that electrician is only on that job site for that homeowner. And so there's once they're paid or partially paid, there's no incentive for them to come back in a swift manner to fix anything, to change anything, or to even finish the job. Whereas with White Oak, we have the advantage of having these crews and these subcontractor partners on multiple job sites at the same time. And so if I call our plumber, for example, and say, hey, we're having this issue with this faucet, can you please get back to this job site and fix this? Like, for example, that's a call I had this morning. We had a client reach out and said, hey, I've noticed my faucet's a little loose. And right off the bat, I'm contacting the plumber. Within an hour, he's on the job site or he's in their home fixing that because he wants to continue that relationship that we've built with him over the years. And that's something that I think sometimes goes unnoticed is how much the GC actually manages, because we'll have people like, hey, I can hire my brother-in-law to do this. And I know somebody that does drywall, and they don't realize that there's a lot more to it There's the relationships that many GCs have built. There's that competitive pricing they're able to offer because their subcontractors give them a price break on that. And so they're getting competitive bid versus going out and bidding everything and trying to get direct quotes from the subcontractors. So that's what I've noticed to be huge in our industry.
Yeah, and I'm sure you run into all the time, like the DIY project's gone wrong, or a homeowner might have a space that was DIY from the previous owner. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen homeowners make when they're working on a project DIY? Coming in to fix.
Yeah, seen plenty of those. And the first thing that comes to mind for me was unpermitted work. Work that hasn't been inspected. Recently, we came into a basement, and the only way I can explain some of the electrical work is it's a rat's nest. I mean, there's wires that were just sort of taped together, and it's a fire hazard. And I heard from the homeowner that the previous owner had done a lot of the electrical themselves, or maybe hired a handyman to do some of that electrical. And something that we were able to do for this homeowner as a case study is we brought in our licensed electrician, and they were able to bring everything up to code. They were able to mark the whole panel on which circuits go where, and to really safeguard their home against any fires. Because for example, if you have a splice in the wall with wires, that's a fire hazard. Every splice needs a J box that's not just hidden in the wall either, that it's accessible. So we have to have a blank plate on there. These things are things that homeowners sometimes don't think about, and that maybe your local handyman doesn't know about some of these codes. So what I've seen to absolve most of that is just permitting the work. Because me as a GC, I can miss things, but there's an electrical inspector that gets sent out by the county, and they're able to inspect all of the work. And the client's able to have the peace of mind to sleep in comfort at night.
Awesome. Do you have, are there projects that provide a surprisingly good return on investment for a homeowner, or ones that maybe don't as much?
Yeah. And this conversation I have pretty often with homeowners, because certain projects and certain products, I would say, is really what it comes down to, don't have as much return on the investment. Depending on the value of the home is what it always comes down to, the location of the home. A lot of times what mistakes that I've seen clients make is buy material that is way out of line for their value of their home. Like there's a certain percentage of value that you want to put back in order to get that return on your investment. For example, a basement can average anywhere from 30 to 50% return on investment, depending on which finishes you use, if you're leaning more towards builder grade or premium. And that's something that I try to consult with all of our homeowners by offering them transparent pricing and saying, here's what you're getting, and here's the faucets, and here's your door count, and here's the type of doors. And they can make that decision themselves. But I try to walk them through on, hey, here's where you're going to get the largest return per square foot on your home, because this basement used to be not finished and now it's finished. And so your house is going to go up in value. But if you end up, buying that material, then all of a sudden you're not getting that return on this project. I would say is conversations we're having with homeowners, because everybody, is thinking ahead nowadays. They're thinking, how is my home going to compare to the neighbors? And is it, am I going to get some of this money back?
Yeah, absolutely. And what are the current trends that you're seeing right now with renovations in kitchens or bathrooms or even outdoor living spaces?
Yeah, this is always a fun conversation. And I'm not obviously a designer. We install a lot of this material, and I can just talk from what I'm seeing more and more. Now, I would say we're moving away from the plain white. For example, we had that season where everybody is doing plain white kitchen cabinets, quartz countertops that are very minimalistic. Everything is almost spotless and untouchable. We're coming into a world where we're seeing a little bit more eclectic. We have different tones. If you remember a few years back, it was a lot of white oak, no pun intended with our company name. There's a lot of white oak stained clear, and everything sort of matched. Right now we're going into a season, and my wife, she's a designer by trade, and she's been showing me some of the new things coming out, and it's these chocolate browns, these colors that really complement each other and create depth in the room. things like sound panels, adding texture to the walls, adding texture to the ceiling, paneling throughout, I think is coming back. It's making a big comeback right now, but it's not in the older tones like you see in some of the older homes, whereas this honey brown, now it's dark, deep espresso browns. I would say that's making a comeback. If for kitchens, a big staple right now is to buy a staple hood, something that's custom and just looks gorgeous, and they make them in all different shapes and sizes. I would say people are moving away from your basic stainless steel hood. They want custom looking, semi-custom features in their home.
Yeah, kind of make that hood like the focal point of the kitchen area, whatever that is. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We just installed one down in Golden for a pretty large kitchen remodel, and they had it handmade. It was copper, hand hammered copper. I'm not sure the whole process it took to make it, but beautiful design. And you kind of walk into the kitchen and your eyes go straight to that, and you think, wow, that's a very custom piece, and it takes a lot of the attention to the kitchen, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I love that, like a statement piece. That's great.
Yeah. 100%.
And do you find that there's unique challenges to building or renovating homes in Colorado that people don't think of, like Colorado specific problems?
Yeah. An issue I've seen, for example, on the residential side in basements, homeowners not realizing they need floating walls in the basement. Colorado soil has a lot of clay, and as it rains, it shifts back and forth. And so what the cities call for are what's called float plate walls. And they're a 3-inch gap between your sole plate and the sole of your wall. And that just allows that movement in the soil to happen. And you've probably seen it in your basement. The concrete is not straight because of Colorado soil. Things like that. There's sand in certain areas in Colorado where, for example, in our additions, we have to drill 17-foot piers into the ground, caissons, just so that new foundation wouldn't shift. And things like that can really drive costs. And with an experienced contractor, you get that insight before you start excavating and then realize, wow, okay, well, this is going to cost a lot more than we anticipated. And having the engineered drawings, architectural drawings, is a vital thing nowadays, because I think in the era of AI, people think they can be an architect, and you can be, because AI is able to create all sorts of beautiful plans. And I use it sometimes. We're on site, we're brainstorming. I'll do a quick measurement for AI, and it'll bring up this beautiful picture. But is it feasible, and is it going to be code compliant? Is the big question. And we have a lot of architectural partners and engineers we try to bring in very early in the process. Right now, we're looking at a large restaurant space we're going to be remodeling in Broomfield. And we made sure to bring the architects in early, because I can promise you the world, but if the city's not going to approve the world, then you're not going to be very happy. And so something that we try to do is bring our power partners in to make sure that the project is feasible, number one, and that ends up saving the homeowner money in the long run, because all of your products are chosen, all of your design is made up before you even break ground on anything. Yeah,
that's great. Can you tell us about one renovation that you've completed that you're especially proud of?
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm proud of all of them, but the first one that really comes to mind, and the one that's sort of freshest on my mind, is as we finish this Golden project that I mentioned the hood was in. We came into a home that was about, I think, 15, 20 years old. And the style trends back then were having walls everywhere. Your dining room is separate. Then you have a wall divvying the living room from the kitchen. So a lot of walls, and the space really seemed constrained. Something that we were able to do for the homeowner was blow out all of the walls. We got an engineer involved. They approved drawings that said, hey, we can get rid of this wall. We can't get rid of this one, but here's what we can do. And so what we were able to do is get rid of a large wall that was load bearing by installing a aesthetic pine post in the middle of the home. and it really opened up the whole space. You have full view of the island and the perimeter cabinets, and you also have a staple piece of this hood or this pine post in the home. And the homeowners are just shocked with how it opened up the whole kitchen. And it was an exciting project to see really come together with beautiful knotty alder cabinetry and beautiful granite cabinet countertops.
That's awesome. Have you ever walked into a project and discovered something completely unexpected or been like totally surprised by something?
There's been a couple of cool ones. I've been especially surprised by seeing some of the products that our architects introduced to us. And that's why we're less of a design build firm. I would say we're mainly a build firm because, first of all, we value those relationships with designers, with architects. So we want to be able to partner with them. But also they introduce us to new products. And for example, on 2 recent renovations, both of them were basements referred by the same architect to us. They designed a hidden door for like a safe room, and it's kind of got a dark brown shelf, alder shelf installed in front of the door. But as you pull on the shelf, it opens up to this secret space. And in one of the homes, it was a little closet, and one of the other homes, it was a larger storage closet, or for whatever the client wants to use it. And I'm not going to disclose that information.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've always thought about like having a secret space in my house.
Yeah, and it's super practical. I mean, you're able to actually add that extra layer of security. God forbid if somebody were ever to break in.
One of the coolest things I ever saw in a home was they had this very beautiful fireplace. It was the whole wall, and then built-in bookcases on each side. And on the left side, you could open up that bookcase. It did not look like it. You couldn't tell that it was a door, but you could open it up.
Oh, wow.
And what they kept in there was their Christmas tree fully decorated, so that every year all they had to do was pull the tree out of this closet and then shove it back in. And so they never had to decorate their tree. And I've just always thought that was the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I want that.
Yeah, that's super practical. And if you want to celebrate Christmas in July, you can bring it out in July too.
Yeah, so, why not?
Yeah. My wife, she always complains that I turn on Christmas music too early. And so I kind of struggle with that a little bit.
Well, there you go. You
Christmas
can pull the tree out, put it back in.
Exactly. Well, you've given me ideas.
Yeah, there's a straight from Jamie.
No, I love that. It's cool.
So if someone's thinking about remodeling, what's the first thing they should do, either before or after calling you, of course?
I would say before or after. I would say call us. As you start to get some of those juices flowing, give us a call. We'll come out. Typically what I'll do is I'll partner them with an architect that is suited, for their area, but also for their needs. So a lot of our architectural partners focus strictly on commercial work, and others are residential, but they're basements. So they're not, too familiar with kitchens and design that goes into a kitchen build out. And so we'll partner them with the right designer and architect. And kind of give them feasibility conversations. So, hey, we want to blow out this wall. Well, let's take a look at your building plans and see, if the walls are load bearing or not, and not promise them the world without knowing for sure what needs to be done. I would say that's number one on my agenda, and I keep repeating it: feasibility, because that oftentimes is hard conversations you want to have early on, versus after you break ground and you realize that actually all this material we ordered isn't going to be usable because we can't take that wall out anymore. And so I would say number one is call us, and we'll kind of walk you through and hold your hand. And it's free. It's free to get an estimate. It's free to connect you. It doesn't cost you anything, but it's going to save you a lot of stress, time, and money.
Awesome. Well, we're about out of time, but is there anything that we did not talk about today that you want to make sure folks know?
I think for the most part, we touched base on everything. But obviously trying to talk to those business owners, talk to homeowners that are looking to remodel. We're also looking to partner with our brokers, so real estate brokers, lenders, anybody that's dealing with that pre-construction world. That's our power partners, but we're here to help. we're here. I think some people think that I can't get that person involved because it's going to cost me something. But when they do get us involved, they realize the value that we bring, and it doesn't cost them anything. And we actually are able to save them money in the long run by getting involved early. So I would say, don't wait, give us a call. We offer free estimates and free consultation on-site services. So I think that is it for the most part.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today. Fun conversation. I'm sure that people will get a lot out of it. And I've linked your website in the chat, in the notes, so people know how to get a hold of you. But thanks so much. This was great.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Jamie. And I appreciate everybody for watching.
Yeah. Everybody have a good rest of your week. Thanks so much.